A vote for Futureman is a vote for the future. Argus stock up 5 points in the wake of recent crime.
The bullets are real. The danger is real. The excitement is real. Coming to you live from Governor's Island, Argus presents the deadliest game show ever aired. USA! Watch us 5 low-down punks and 5 Argus enforcers go head-to-head in the ultimate combat challenge, D-Day. Storm the beaches for a dangerous frontal assault. Jungle. Hide among the leaves and employ guerrilla warfare. Castle. A powerful defensive fortress. Observation. Survey the area and keep an eye on the competition. Hit, or one wrong step can mean the difference between shortcut and cut short. Who will survive inside Kildome, USA?
Watch Kildome at 7, only on Violence TV.
All right. Talk once. Axsom. All right. Well, I don't know if he's actually here yet. Welcome everybody to another map making segment. This week, Pine and I swapped. I'm with Axsom this week, and he's with Sando tomorrow.
Hello.
So today we're going to be working on, it's a shorter stream today. We only got about an hour, but looks like Axsom is going to be working on some dome maps.
Yeah.
And I believe this is the first map making dome stream.
Well, I mean, it came out on Friday, so yes. We waste no time on bringing these to stream.
No time. So, Axsom, I guess kind of the first general question that people are probably going to ask is, were you happy with how Dome came out and how the community perceived it?
I don't really want to answer that. I'm thrilled with how a lot of the time it's been a lot of the ways I've seen it accepted. We've gotten a lot of good feedback on it. I'm really happy that it the launch went smoothly. I think the art team did an incredible job on dolling this thing up to look just the way that it does. Because I remember when I first started working on this, I was all white Pro Builder cubes and seeing it go from very just single color rooms to what we have now is it has been incredible. Just to kind of see that process unfold. So I'm super hyped that it's finally out and I can actually stream me creating one. It's because it just felt like it's been forever.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I've playing a lot over this past weekend and stuff. The one thing that I've heard is that it's very visually stimulating, where the colors are awesome and the different rooms.
The audio is awesome. You don't even go to visuals. Bulk did such a good job on the dome theme. Oh my god, I think it's so hype.
Yeah, definitely. So guys, if you're in the chat and you have any questions for Axsom, ask away. Like I said, we only got about an hour stream today for this. So yeah, if you have anything at all you want to ask, go for it. The verticality is your favorite aspect?
When I started making Dome, we had just started implementing kind of the current iteration of Factory Office, and the verticality there was really I don't want to say greatly appreciated, but the verticality was fun, and it was probably one of the more highly given pieces of feedback that we were getting on Factory. So when it was oh, you want to make something new, it was well, I want a map that has more 3D elements to it, both up and down. So you'll notice that Dome has a lot of higher areas like ruins or observation. Well, it also has dips in the floor that go down the river or the base areas. So and beach as well. I really wanted this to kind of be an area where we could explore 3D terrain. because that didn't exist in the other two tile sets really. But I think the cool thing about Dome is because it's under the guise of a game show, we really can explore it. Like if we were going to make like an update in the future that adds another room to it, that has a different theme, like we can explore outdoor themes with Dome that we might not otherwise be able to,
Yeah,
yeah, and follow through with in other tile sets. Because how do we have like a forest map when there's a UAV looking for you?
yeah, you're not really limited to the theme. I mean, because like you said, you are under the game show guys. You're not like limited
Yeah,
to a certain theme.
Yeah, we can literally slap anything in here and doll it up to look like a game show, and it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm one as well that does love the verticality. My obviously my favorite room I still have to say is D-Day. I just think it's so cool, like
It,
when you storm the beach.
yeah, it has a very strong like thematic feeling, right? Like you get the authentic MG42 experience that will only be made greater when we reintroduce the cart, right? Like you get your defenders sitting in your pillbox just burring down with a bunch of knacks, just a hail of lead, and you're trying to assault up the beach. Like it's a fun feeling. And it's like if you do get it, if you make your way up the beach, you're rewarded with a pretty strong head peak, like a perch for the attackers. So
Yeah.
it can be worth taking. So I think I need to run my next pass here. Hang on, I need to step off for a sec. My dog got something.
Okay.
He's being a
Sounds
meanie.
good. So, what is everybody in chat's favorite room within Dome currently? Because we've seen Pit, Jungle, Ruins, Observation, D-Day, Castle. What's everybody? Beach is yours? Yeah, I love Beach, man. I just think it's so fun to storm it.
I mean,
D-Day
it was
turret.
one of the big things we learned with Dome is we wanted the relationships between rooms to matter more. So if you held a room, it gained you something or is meaningful to be like, as attackers we hold this room, therefore we have access to this.
Yeah.
So like the most obvious example of this is observation. If you hold observation, you have extremely powerful intel gathering tools, right?
Yeah.
You can see everything and they can't see you. And that can be extremely powerful, but you only have that if you hold this room. So if the defenders hold this room as an attacker, you have to be like, well, we know they can see us. So how do we account for that? Do you use more smokes? Do we just, say fuck it? Do we feint them? Like, you send a guy up here while the rest of your team goes around back. So they're, obsessing over this one guy. Like, what do you do?
Yeah. I mean,
Same thing with here with Beach, right? It's like, well, if the attackers take this room, they can now head peek you. In some levels, it's more advantageous than others. So in this one, it doesn't really get you much because you can't see further into the level. But on other levels, it's real strong.
Well, I think if you watch any of the DPL action this weekend, with Dome and Gunplay 2.0 being introduced, you saw a lot of unique strategies. Like if a team, like you said, takes observation, I saw a lot of times where the defending team would just shut off power, eventually,
Yep.
Essentially rendering observation useless, and they can't see anything either. Then.
Yep. I mean, it goes both ways. So like if the defenders know that the attackers have taken observation, they can kill the lights.
Yeah.
I've also seen people go up there and shoot out, take a knack up there and just start shooting out the TVs.
Oh yeah, we saw that yesterday actually in a match where the other team took shorties because they have the circle pattern. They could hit all four monitors
Yep,
at one
and
time.
just shoot them all out. Like that was a thing that we wanted. Just so there was more counterplay to the room. When I originally designed it, it was literally just it was two-way bulletproof class. So you could see them and they could see you, but there was no shooting it out. But as we kind of developed the room, it was like it'd be interesting if you could like black it out. Like if you knew you were getting pushed, you could just spray the wall or pump it full of shotgun shells and just be like, nope, sorry, you don't get to see this.
So here's a question that I've seen quite a bit, and I'm sure you have as well, with the wall charge consistency within Dome. Um, with obviously like the black topped walls being able to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
wall charged yet. They're just wondering if it's going to change at all, or more so if it's going to be fixed.
I mean, so here's the problem. You can actually see on my stream right now. Look right here. You see the color of that? Right. Here's the problem: is when I flip, this view isn't set up for it. This view still has the old one, so I just need to. There's a shitload of these prefabs that all need to be updated because as you can see when I click on this thing, it's actually two objects. It's this lower wall here. So it's the subroom wall for river and the underside of pit and the top half. So I had to go through and update all of the map visible versions of that to have the proper marking because it's not going to do it automatically. So it just takes time. I'll probably end up doing it this week just because it's kind of necessary because y'all need to know what you can blow up and what you can't because
Yeah.
like the fact that it's not obvious again from this view you can tell that you can blow up like observation wall, but from this view it's like wait what, and when you toggle between the two it's like I don't know which of these is true. So yeah, it's for me it's a pretty high priority. Like the other thing that I wish was more clear was the ability to door charge the castle door because that's not as obvious as I would like it to be.
Yeah, and that's a conversation you and I actually had. Was that
Yep.
for Sinful Caesar, which is the common map people use as an example. Pit is the only door access besides Castle Door that lets you into the bomb room.
Yeah.
And nobody really understood that. Everybody was under the impression that you had to use a wall charge on a castle door, which you
Yeah,
don't.
I mean I understand why because it
Yeah.
looks like a wall.
Yeah, and you could actually door charge it. So it was one of those deals where it actually took us going into a private match and just trying it to see if it was feasible.
Yeah.
And then obviously it worked out. So that's why when I
And
messaged you, I'm like,
it
is
shouldn't
this...
be that way.
Yeah.
It needs to be obvious. So like the that has the same problem that fan does. So
Yeah.
dome door is affected by electricity. So if you turn the power off, the door doesn't go up and down. And you can charge it same way as the fan. Fan is of course marked as red, but in reality it should be marked red and yellow. It's kind of the same thing for
Right.
the castle doors. It should be marked red and yellow. One of the solutions we were looking for that door is actually to make it so you can kick it from the inside. So like if you own that building, you can kick it down. So even if the button is outside the room, you can still leave.
That would be cool.
But of course you wouldn't be able to cause it. You wouldn't be able to raise it again.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, definitely, and I know you played as well over the weekend to see what the community was feeling with Dome. I think it's been really cool to see the different strategies come into play, right? Like you can wall charge the blocks within Castle. You know how it's a 1x1 block. You can wall charge through that, and not a lot of people understood that either. And so there's so many different.
There's a lot of consistency things. That's like the castle walls particularly are. We don't really have a way to mark that, so I need to go to UI and be like, how do I show this?
Right.
Because like with all previous walls, they're all modeled off the same thing, but now it was like, well, should you be able to wall charge through castle walls? It's like, well, they're technically walls, so yeah, but we don't have a way to show that on the map.
Right.
We need to come up with a solution.
I'm just excited to see how Dome is gonna transpire over the months. It's only been out for a week, and obviously, you guys as a level team and developers, you guys hear a lot of the community input on what would make it better. And I mean, look at Factory and other maps, for example. You guys hear a lot of this input.
Yeah, I was playing over the weekend. One of the things I noticed is there's a lot of times where nobody plans on Dome. We usually see this happen when maps kind of hit their complexity limit. So when things get too complex and you can't like mentally parse a level, you just go, okay, we're going through this door, and that's kind of it. When I was doing casuals, like it was very rare that we would get an actual plan on Dome beyond just let's go through this door. Like that was the extent of the plan, and that shouldn't be the extent of the plan. Like there should be other things going on beyond just go through door. So one of the things I'm going to be looking into doing is that reducing. I think most of that problem lies in jungle. Is I think I need to reduce the complexity of it substantially. So we might see that reflected in this week's maps, and then of course, I'll be playing pretty much every weekend for a while just to suss out like how low can I get this to go before it becomes either A, too simple, or more importantly, B, when people start planning again.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like the tall grass features in jungle.
Oh yeah, that was I remember uh Jesse prototyping that out, and they were originally these little like tubes. Let me see if we still have it. Yeah, we do. So originally it was like this. So they were like, oops, oh, I didn't duplicate it. Yeah, they're originally like this. So it was like a little grass tube that you could spawn and stand inside, and they were pretty fun. But I didn't want it to be just like, you know,
A singular tube you could clear.
well, not even that, but like 3 or 4 of them, because it ended up feeling like the shell game, where it's like, all
Yeah.
right, which one of these is the end? Just shoot all of them. Okay, like it's
Yeah.
like the same issue of like these little pillboxes, but the pillboxes are a different story. But like the possibility space of where is the defender inside this tube is tiny. He's going to be in the middle of the tube, so you would just shoot at it, and that wasn't very interesting. So we kind of expanded it to these like straight corner pieces, so we could kind of mold our own like little grass pockets for people to hide in, which I think ended up being way more flexible than what we had, and ends up creating like better looking cover clusters, or yeah, covers.
Well, and the audio cue that you get when somebody is in there.
Yeah, rustle.
It's very noticeable. So that's one of the things
Yeah.
I really like.
Man, just the rustling in the grass. Honestly, when we were testing the tube version, it kind of felt like you were playing Pokemon, because you'd put them everywhere, because we didn't have like the way to build your own cover at the time, and it was just like you'd be walking through the grass and suddenly there's an auto shotgun there, and it's like, oh no.
The planning point, in my experience, a lot of planning on other maps is discussing use of wall charges, and it really doesn't come up much on Dome. I think it's because it's new. I mean,
I think it's because it's new, and the where you can wall charge is not clear.
yeah.
So I think that will get cleaned up as we make it more obvious where you can wall charge, because like I really expect there to be more wall charges out of observation, because it's the ultimate peak.
Yeah.
Like you wall charge, like on this example, like you wall charge out here, you can line up your shots beforehand by just side strafing through the TVs.
Well,
And
yeah, exactly. And I think
that's a feature of the room. So wall charging in this room is super strong.
Yeah. And we saw quite a bit of wall charges in the partner showdown that happened on Friday.
Yep.
Was like those wall charges into pit or into out of observation, stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah, I'm waiting to see more wall charges like this, where you like go up the ramp and then blow up the wall halfway through, because you can do that too. Because like these are technically wall charge enabled since they're mid wall, so you could potentially go halfway up the beach and blow into another room.
Yeah.
So if I put bomb right here, that's a really powerful play. But of course, you're trying to do this on the beach while you're under fire by knacks and other nasty shit.
Yeah.
But like I do try to enable wall charges when I see them. So like when I built this little area up here, like so level gen will spawn the basic pathway, then I have to build the ramp up. But yeah, this little area right here, like I put these here specifically so you could wall charge in if you wanted to. So if you went through pit, you could wall charge right on the bomb site.
The one thing I wanted to ask you, we brought this up in the partner showdown, is there a way for us to track the statistics of how many people have actually died to pit in the opening weekend?
I wish.
Because I would
there
love to
might
see
be.
it.
I'd have to ask like Oz. That's a question for Ozzy or Nathan. They might be able to answer that one. I can't, unfortunately. But that would be a fun. That'd be a really fun statistic.
Because I know myself, I've fallen victim to that pit about 8 times. Ghetto had a question of are you meant to be mollied in water? Like
Oh,
if
we've
a
joked
molly.
about that. We don't currently have a system that's able to eat grenades. So like if you chuck a grenade in pit, I really want the grenade to fail, so it just doesn't go off. So if you miss your flashbang, right? So like this room is meant to be weak to grenades. So if you know there's a defender here and you yeet your flashbang and it goes, too far to the left or too far to the right and it goes in the lava, it'll still go off right now when I want the lava to eat it. So it's like, well, you didn't nail your nade. Sorry about that.
Well, we've seen a lot of that with smokes too on this weekend. Was people would miss their smokes and it would go underneath the
Yeah,
stairs.
yeah. I just want it to. I want the lava to eat it, so it just
Right.
fails to trigger, so you don't end up with silly things like that. But yeah, like if we could get a fire no go in water, that would be awesome. Or if like the fire burned on top of the water because oil, etc.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy spawned inside it.
Elton, for your questions about like the walls that are black, that's been answered kind of ready. It's going to be updated and fixed.
Yeah, we'll fix it.
So, for example, most of the inner walls are wall chargeable on Dome, even though they might
Yep,
show
so, like,
black
all
tops.
these are like the only interior walls are like these. So the ones under observation. Because if you wall charge these, you'd end up falling through the level, which could be a fun Easter egg one day. Like maybe the defenders steal a wall charge and they're just like, fuck it, you go and fall down into pit or fall down under observation. But like every wall is chargeable, including like the second floor pit ones. It's like both number one. Like you can see this like little rectangle right here. That's like the wall charge area. As you can see, it's enabled on both. Yeah, one of the other ones I'm thinking if I want to add or not, or request is these guys, making these guys wall chargeable. I've seen requests for these.
That
So
would
if
be
you take
nice.
ruins, you could charge out of ruins. That's an ask though. Like we have to set this thing up to be network enabled. We have to make the art to make this thing blow up. We have to set the scripts up. You know what I mean? Like it's not an easy task.
Does the UAV still zap you if you make it onto the map before it kills you?
There's 4 of them, and they will always be able to see. You think there's one that should be able to see you, so you're like there might be a safe zone down there, but yeah, you're not going to be able to move very far before that UAV hits you in the butt. UAV hits you in the butt.
Well, I think there's turrets underneath too, isn't there now? There's like a UAV
There might
turret.
be. I know we were talking about it. I don't know if they're underneath now. I know they're out here in the background scene. I do like that you can go under the level, although to me it just amplifies the 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 2F problem because you can't tell. Like if you're on the map screen, you can't tell if somebody's running around under the level or in the level.
Yeah.
And it can end up. That was something I saw that was really frustrating when I was playing on the weekends. Is there was one of my teammates was yelling at one of the other teammates because he couldn't figure out which door to go in.
Yeah. That's the thing
So
where I think it'd be nice to have
and he
like.
thought he was in. And he was like, "Aren't you?" He's like, "You need to go this way." He's right in front of you, and he's like, "I'm under the level. I don't know which way to go."
Yeah. That's where I think it'd be nice, like in the planning phase where you pull up the map, you could like hit a button and you could toggle first floor, second floor type deal.
Yeah. I don't know what the solution for that ultimately is.
Yeah.
That's going to be the UI UX doing that.
Shill. You could just shoot out the TVs in observation with any weapon.
Yep.
So you'll see a lot of people in certain situations shoot out the one ways with like a gat or a shorty shotgun, stuff like that. It's one bullet and it takes out the TV. No, you cannot take out the TV from the other side. It's bulletproof.
Yeah, if we made it so you can shoot the TV out from the back, that's all anybody would ever do, and the room would be useless.
Yeah.
So ultimately, we just kind of coated the whole thing with like a bulletproof glass. You can kind of see the frame of it right here.
The one way I describe Dome itself is a strong mix between like Kill House and Factory, where it's that in between child between the two.
Oh, I don't know. I always described it as a, well, I didn't compare it to existing stuff. I always said it was inspired by Running Man and Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Oh, true, true, true.
I just like all the unique doorways. Like all of the exits in and out. Even in the interior ones have these custom things to let you know what room you're in. Because in the other tile sets, we found that it was sometimes difficult to know what room you're about to go into.
Yeah.
So, like, especially on Kill House, and you kick a door down, you don't always know what's on the other side because all the doors are the same. In C-Store, it's not quite as bad, because all of the rooms have like their doorways. So you have like the freezer door, right? The bathroom door, so you kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
But with Dome, I kind of wanted to kind of pick it up a notch because everything's 2F. So it's like if I want to know where Pit is, they're like, oh, they're coming from Pit. You can just see the giant fucking skull and know it's coming from over there. So we made them like super tall and we arted them the fuck up. So it's really cool. Oop, there's an error. Come on, there you go. So like and even like in Factory, like it's less confusing because there are no doors, and like you can tell if like there's only really two rooms, right? It's main floor and Toxic, and you know where Toxic is because of those damn fences.
Right. Yeah.
But with Dome, it was like, well, we'll put the murals on the wall, but you're not going to know what's on the other side. So that's when we're like, well, let's just make these really tall, cool doorways so you know what you're getting into. That way it's like, oh, am I going into D-Day or am I going into Jungle? And you'll be able to know because, Jungle has the giant Maya head and it's really cool versus the like flaming pit skull or just the mess load of TVs. I always like the little details with observation is the interior signs, like the above the windows that tell you what room you're about to go into. Not that you really need it because you're in a room full of TVs, but it's just there to kind of fit the theme of
It's a detail. Yeah.
of the level. Yeah, just fit the theme of the level.
Is Kildome done now, or will it get new themed rooms down the road?
I wanted to have new themed rooms down the road. Like, I hope we continue to update all of the tile sets, right? Like, I don't want us to kind of get in a position where you're only playing the same 5 rooms. Like, Dome was made to be able to be like, okay, we've got 5 rooms total now, pick 4. So, like, as time goes on, maybe we add more, right? Like, maybe we add a desert one, or an Arctic one, or like a cave one, you know what I mean? There's all sorts of shit we can do because we're under the guise of game show. And this is what I mean by like simplifying Jungle. You see, I've got 3 pieces of cover here.
Yeah.
I just want to see how that play. Like, I'm basically gonna leave it like this and see what happens.
When you said Arctic one, that sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about it. I haven't actually put a lot of. There's only one. Actually, I lied. There's about 3 alternate rooms that I've thought of for Dome and have a pretty strong understanding of how the room would play. But I mean, whether or not they'll happen is a big question mark. So I don't really want to talk about them too much.
Yeah. The one thing I personally love too about them is the double doors, right, versus the single doors.
Yeah. I just wish they both opened at the same time.
True. Yeah.
But yeah, we wanted less fights because, like on the other tile sets, the doors are basically where all the killing happens. Is you just watch that little 1x1. It was like, let's just make it a 2x1, so there's a greater possibility space of somebody getting through that door,
Right.
and not just being murked as soon as they open it. So it's like, all right, which door? You have to pick one. You can't just hover over the middle of the doorway and basically get a free shot when they kick it. You gotta be able. Okay, is it gonna be this one or this one? So there's a little more wiggle room.
You have no idea how much time I spent parkouring in base to try to get up onto that area. That you're like
Yep.
the elevated area.
Like we put stuff up there just in case people can get up there. Like there's a couple maps where I intentionally did it. There's one that has a really disgusting sight line. It's like, if I remember the map correctly, the sight line is basically observation is over here in like an L shape. Base is basically where it is now, and then bomb is all the way up here, and you can hide right here, and you have line of sight all the way onto bomb, which is like right here. It's like the cheekiest play, and I intentionally put a piece of cover right here. So if they take beach, they're not going to see you unless they look for you. So it's a really cheeky spot. But I mean, you're super vulnerable if they come around, right? Like the attackers are up here and they look down, they can just see you and nuke you because you're not in cover. But
Right.
if they take the red door up here and they don't bother with base, well, guess what? You're gonna have free reign. Just murder them with the mob.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they smoke, and at that point they thought ahead. They saw the sight line. It was like, okay. Okay, let's see how we look. I got a pretty simple, like all the rooms in here are pretty simple beyond jungle. Like observation has like 2 pieces of cover. Pit has like 2 pieces of has like what two pieces of cover here, and everything's a straight line. Like everything's relatively simple. Like base has 2 places you can cover beach from, and then after that it's like what 1, 2 holds like back here. Relatively simple. It's just jungle that's just got a ton going on because it can be a wild variety of shapes, which I
Right.
think is good for the map because it makes it so you're not seeing the same shapes over and over and over. Jungle is actually unique in that it's actually made up of I think 3 different rooms. Let's look. Yep. Nope. 5 different rooms. So it has the river tile spawns first, then spawns a quote unquote jungle piece, then another jungle piece, and then a ruins piece, and then another ruins piece, and that's how it assembles. And it'll always kind of the rest of the level will kind of conform around it. You can actually even see over here that pit is actually 2 rooms. There's this L piece here, and then another L piece on top of it, and then they merge to form a bigger room. So like even like Dome has probably the most possible level shapes that any of our tile sets can be, like
Right.
exponentially more than factory. So like the even in factory you might start seeing similar shapes, but I don't actually think we can get to that point in Dome because of how wild jungle and pit are.
Pop Man, is there plans to make the maps 100% automated for procedural generation?
Not 100%. This question gets asked pretty much every week. If we used to do 100%, but I mean, you still miss like the little touches. I don't know if you can hear the other people in the office, but uh, if we put it at 100%, you're gonna lose the like human touches, right? Like you'll get like these. It's really obvious when a computer makes a map. It's less obvious when I go in and move a couple things around to make a really cool sightline, or like put the bomb in a really interesting place beyond just letting the computer handle it. Because like the computer could like put it over here, and it's like that's not very interesting because you're not using the rest of the map. Now we could teach it to like not do that, right? But is here more interesting than here? More interesting than here? Like where do we want to put this for optimal? It's really hard to teach a computer that, and it's really easy to like teach a human to do that.
Right. Well, and the one thing as well is like when it does the prop passover, sometimes the props and stuff that it puts into place are just
Yeah,
wacky.
they get in a weird spot. You're like that's more just how they're all configured. Like pit is probably one of the better spawning things right now because like I'll show you when I'm done with this level and I hit the button. But it'll actually spawn the snaking path on its own, and I don't have to touch it. It's good about doing very, very specific instructions. So, like, hey, make a snaking path, and it can do it. But when it comes to intelligently placing cover, it needs a little work.
Agent Peril, there's roughly 100 plus maps in the map pool each week.
Yeah, I think it's like 120 right now.
Yeah, it's usually about 120. As far as different variations, I mean, there's thousands for each map, but not all of them are in the map pool.
Yeah, I've made ever since I started working on the game. I've made like I had to have made 5 to 10,000 maps over the course of alpha and before.
Yep. So
Like,
each
it's
week,
a lot.
Peril, there's basically 20 new ones that get added between the four
Yeah,
tile
somewhere between 20 and
sets.
40, depending on how productive we are or
Yeah.
what else we've got going on.
And
Add new
then,
ones to the pool, take the old ones out.
yep, exactly. Of that, how many clever pigs?
I still think we need a clever pig billboard in a tile set, and it's like a meat packing company.
Will all maps come back into rotation ever?
So define how far are we talking here? Because I it is actually impossible for us to put some of our like alpha maps in because the underlying systems in each level. So like if I go in here and turn on snap. So you see how everything's got this bright green cube around it? Like these are all level volumes. If there are any maps that exist without level volumes, they straight up will not work. Like light won't work. Like audio just shit breaks without the level volumes. There's a lot of systems that rely on these being in place in order to function. So if there's maps that were made prior to level volumes existing. So if I try to load one of those up, nothing will work. So while the geometry may be all in the right space, the underlying systems that are supporting the map have, potentially all changed. And so I can't just go back and just copy paste a map in without doing a lot of hand editing. So like I could, if it's determined that it's worth it, right? Like if we want to bring back Clever Pig because we all love Clever Pig, let's say we want to bring him back, like I would have to go in, load him, figure out what assets I need to replace, put the right scripts in the right spot. Like I'd have to do all of the hand placing that level gen does for me otherwise. Like, would otherwise do automatically. I would have to do by hand, which takes time. Let's pull this back here.
Maybe you'll be able to answer this question. Agent Peril says, how do you actually go about clipping, such as in CSGO, or do you have another way to automate it?
Do what?
That was Mike.
You mean like shit clipping into walls? Like half the time I don't care. Like a lot of our objects was designed to clip into the floor or into the wall slightly. So we just don't care. Unless there's something more specific you're asking about, like please be more specific because I don't really understand what you're asking. Because like this object's clipping in the floor already. It's designed to be that way. Like we gave it a longer bottom so we could just slap it in the floor. Same thing with like these rocks, they're slapped into the floor, or these bushes, they're slapped into the floor.
He said about the players abusing positions.
Yeah, that's the problem with the character controller. I have no power over that. That has to come from engineering because I know what you're talking about now. So like those places where you can wiggle, get your character's head stuck in the ceiling, and now you can see through the world because your head's in an occluded space. That I'm aware of, but I'm kind of powerless to stop it, other than moving geometry around or putting blockers to make it so you can't jump up into a position where you can clip your head on that. I know somebody posted a clip in level feedback in Discord where they were able to get on top of a beer box inside containment, poke their head through the container above them and see through the world. That could be fixed by me adding adding a fizz around it to prevent you from jumping on top of it. But at the end of the day, the ultimate solution is to like muck with the character controller to make that impossible. So like if you're in a crouched position, you can't just stand up and shove your head in the ceiling, that you remain crouched instead, but that's not my task to solve. So it's like, am I aware of these things? Absolutely. Can I fix them? Kind of. I just need to be made aware of them. Okay, I think this boy's done. This particular map, you can go up through beach. If you take beach, it gives you access to pit, which will get you up on top of the ruins. You can clear that out. It also gives you access to this part of jungle, which has power in it. If you go through observation, of course, you can see everything. Even though you have to go through 2 choke points, you can still eventually get to bomb, which will put you in a pretty powerful position, but you're literally in a one-way street, so the defenders are going to be able to choke you down pretty hard. Yeah, because like if you take this door, you've got to fight through all of this just to get towards bomb, and at that point, no, you're getting flanked from all these angles. Like you could easily have a dude here just looking up through the bridge and murk people as they come out here. Okay, I think we're done here. This is pretty good. I've got my 3 doors. I've got power. I've got bomb. But is bomb hovering? Take a look. Now we're good. Sweet. This map is named Apollo Standing. I didn't know if I wanted Standing Apollo or Apollo Standing, and I went with Apollo Standing because it made me think of Death Stranding, which I thought was silly.
Shill, as far as customization goes, neither one of us would really have the answer to that.
Yeah. If we're talking about character customization, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Not my department.
Once maps are rotated out, are they looked at again, touched up, and re-released?
Nope. Haven't done that. No, the only time I ever did something like that was I did a thought experiment a long time ago in alpha, where I took a level. So I took this entire. So I took a level that had people talk. I don't want to say talked about a lot, but it got feedback. So all I did was I did this, and I rotated the level 180 degrees and put it back with no changes to see if people would notice. Answer was not a lot of people did. And I got I got slightly different feedback on the flipped level than I did the original level with different upvotes and downvotes, which I thought was pretty funny. But no, we don't. I don't like go back in and clean up a level and put it back into rotation. Like it basically gets put into a vault, and we'll like if it had a lot of feedback, we'll like I will personally analyze it and be like, okay, here's a lot of points of contention. Why was this annoying, et cetera, et cetera. Like I'll analyze it, but like. I don't like I don't like rehashing maps because that's not the point of the game.
I mean, the only real reason that you guys would ever go in and touch up a map is if it was like a good map, but it had like a broken flaw to it.
Well, I mean, we already do that, right? Like,
Yeah.
if there's a map that's like, I think there's 2 factory maps right now that we need to pull out because they don't have lights. Like, if the map's not getting played because it's broken, I'll fix it and then put it back into rotation. But if it's a map that's functional and it's been in there for a month and then we pull it, like, I'm not gonna touch it up and put it back in. But we do touch ups on maps that have like glaring flaws, and we'll ship them in the next update. Actually, let's move this. Put it over here.
I think it's so funny hearing the names that people have called these because obviously we have the names over top of it like beach and base. But I've just heard people call it D-Day or Normandy or they're storming the beach.
It says D-Day right here.
Yeah.
So like collectively, the entire room is called D-Day internally.
Right.
Like, oops. Oh god. It's like even the doors all say D-Day.
Right.
Because that's the theme of the room is Normandy. Like that's the whole theme of the room. But ultimately, we needed to be able to give people call-outs that were simple, so we opted for beach and base. So like they're pushing the beach. Well, they've breached the beach. Now they're in the base, right? Like we tried to, instead of just putting a massive D-Day over the middle, because that might have been. It's easier if we split, mentally it's
Right.
easier if we split it up because they're like, which part of D-Day? Or they're in the trenches.
Yeah.
But with a lot of the call outs, we try to make the word for the room as simple as possible. So like beach is one syllable, base is one syllable, pit is one syllable, jungle's two. Observation is more than that, but it's kind of the notable exception.
Well, and I've heard people just refer to it as OBS,
Yeah, that
OBS.
too. Like that's kind of why we left it because people would start shorthanding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I know you like D-Data the most. I actually like Observation the most. I think it's probably the coolest room we've ever made.
It's very cool.
Um,
I think it's
I
dynamic.
just like aesthetically and tactically, like I think it is just the best room for the tile set, like bar none. Because like information is power in our game, and like the more you see, like you're up here and you see people coming back, you can tell your team and they'll be ready for it. Like especially if you're trying to do like a feint play where like you come in here and then everybody rotates back to cover here, and then you have your side team go up through beach once all of the people have left base. Like you can do that and you can make those call outs. That to me is very powerful. Like this is the mind game room.
Would you like to play a game? That's all I can think
Basically.
of.
But yeah, like I really wanted this room to be when I originally made it, I wanted it to be a commander room. So like if you take this room, typically you would leave one dude in here and he would make call outs while the rest of their team kind of push throughout the level, which is how I wanted the room to be played. During one of our last play tests before Dome went live, two of our cadet testers had a really cool moment where they were making call outs for each other, where there was a guy in observation making call outs for the dude who was in jungle, and he would just like turn and fire into a bush and kill a dude
Right.
because this guy could see him and this guy couldn't, but he would just turn and fire where his friend was telling him to fire and he'd get kills. And it was really cool. It was a really cool moment of these two people working together, which is what the game is all about.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why this room is elevated and why like the grass is the height that it is, because you can see inside this grass no matter where it is. And you can see anybody that's in there. So like if there's a dude hiding here behind the grass, you're gonna be able to see his head from in here no matter what.
Yeah.
So it's like this room is meant to counter that room. Like I said at the beginning, this is where we really learned what does it mean to have two rooms that are related to each other. And it's like observation is related to jungle in the way that observation provides you absolute intel into this otherwise chaotic room. And like castle has a similar flavor, but castle allows you to fire back, right? Like that's the change off. So like if you own both observation and castle, you can make call outs as to where they are into this chaos zone while also killing them from a very safe angle from another spot.
Yeah. Pop Man. Player counts doesn't really determine map making.
Yeah, we just make a whole bunch of maps.
Yeah. Everything else you kind of mentioned would be out of both of our spectrums with gadgets and game modes and stuff.
Yeah, I have my own opinions on what gadgets I'd like to see, but they're kind of irrelevant to like this conversation because that's just me speculating, being like, it'd be cool if the same way that you guys do.
It'd be really cool if we got a fishing pole and we could fish in the water and then get like a shield
dude.
off of it, or maybe a gun.
I still want the Exodia gun, dude. I will always stand by wanting the Exodia gun. Or like there's a piece of a gun, like we randomly place a piece of a gun in every map, and if you collect all three on round 3, you get like this really shitty BM pistol that when you kill somebody with it, puts like a massive flare in the kill feed. That haha, I killed you with the shitty gun. It's like you get like a shitty receiver in map 1, you get like a really crummy like barrel in map 2, and then on round 3 you actually get the bullets for it. Like that's what I want to. I would love to have something like that. That would be so fun for me because I would get to decide where do these things spawn because it wouldn't be in an obvious spot. I'd hide them.
Like you've activated my trap card.
Yeah, or it's like you got to be milling around. One of them, like if we're talking about spawn points, maybe it's like right here in the chair.
Right.
Maybe it's under the chair. Maybe it's on top of the chair. You know what I mean? Like there's all sorts of places I could hide it. But like I would love to see that in the game, but I doubt it'll ever happen.
Give me a default dance.
Right. That's Kevin. That's Kevin. I can't do that. I don't even know what our default dance would be. I'm sure it's whatever Kevin's favorite dance is.
It'd be something with DDR. It would have to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Please no flossing. Okay, let's see how many gens it takes for me to get a workable dome. I've saved this thing like 8 times. All right, reload base scene. Let's go. I just need to check something before I start. I need to make sure castle's turned on, which it's not. Fucking knew it. I was running gens before this and I never saw a castle. I was just like, what's going on here? Now I know why. It was erroneously turned off. Yeah, dome gens unfortunately take quite a while to make because there's like, if anybody ever wants to know if we can generate a 3-floor structure, yes, we can, because dome is effectively a 3-floor building.
Because of the underground, I suppose, is 1 floor.
Yep. Yep. So underground is a floor, jungle. So technically, it's like there's 4 different playable heights. It's subroom floor where you run around under the level, pit/base level, because that's like it's lower than this floor. So if you go here, 2 different heights. Then there's jungle floor, which is the same as pit, which is the same as floor 1 castle, and then there's second floor, which is the height of ruins, observation, and the top part of castle. I actually like this castle. I'm keeping it.
How did you guys come up with the idea of procedurally generated maps for an FPS?
It's a question for Alex and Vince, but like I believe the gist of it is like we all grew up playing stuff like Team Fortress 2 and Battlefield Bad Company and all the just straight up Battlefield, like all those games, and it's like after you play in the same map like for 2 years, it gets really grating. So like we wanted a game that didn't have the same maps all the time. And lo and behold, here we are.
I mean, I feel like everybody can attest to that. You go play a Call of Duty game, and what's the number one complaint is we need more maps or, anything like that.
Right? Like we wanted to, instead of like, we put a lot of our effort into making maps as quickly as possible. And like, I mean, I just made a map in front of people and I'm going to get like halfway through this one before we got to bail. But, yeah, that's where we put all our effort, was just making it quick and easy to make a playable level that's, that's tactically interesting. So
Maps change every week, Headache Jake.
yep, every Friday we push out a new set of maps.
So, like, the maps you're seeing right here, so, example, like the last map that he just made, that'll be in this week's update, I believe.
Yep, that'll be in on Friday. We also, so there were actually supposed to be an extra 3 factories that somehow didn't make it in for the Dome launch week. That'll be in this week, so you'll get a couple extra factories, one of which were made by our, was heavily inspired by our friends over in the DPL. So we'll get to play the DPL map.
120 maps are in the map.
Oh yeah, here you go, look.
Week.
I just ran the flow path, and it spawned the whole snaking thing on its own. If I'd added a door, it would have auto-connected to it, and I wouldn't have had to do anything. But I kind of forgot to beforehand, so... Oh, I just got word we can keep going till 4, so we're good.
Okay.
So we'll be able to finish this map.
Sweet.
Sounds good. All right, so let's continue making this map. So what did I just run? I just ran flow. So yeah, flow pass is kind of one of a new thing we're looking to add and work on as the we continue working on the tile sets. But yeah, you could see this whole thing. It auto drew its base pathing, which is a lot of work that I didn't have to do. So like if I wanted to, I could manipulate these pieces and make something more interesting. So like this is what the computer, this is like the question of would you ever do 100% automation? Question is like maybe, but I could go in here and like flip these two and make something more interesting. Like this, so now you have like an S pattern that you have to do instead of just a straight line out. Like, is that more interesting? I don't know, but a computer would likely generate that donut a whole lot, since it's really like the score that we teach the computer to look for is really high when it makes the donut versus doing something like this. Like it's more likely to make the donut than make like a winding S path.
Well, the thing I kind of like about what you just did there is it's not necessarily you're giving the defenders a little more cover to work with.
Oh yeah, like the whole point of pit is that it's kind of a shitty place to play. Like you really don't want to be here as an attacker or a defender. But if you want to be in the room surrounding it like castle, because you can cover a lot of ground.
Yeah.
But like I'm kind of sitting back and going, what's more interesting? Is it that or is it this? Because I actually think this is more interesting. Or excuse me, I need one of those back. There we go. So this is the question of like, how mean do I want to be to attackers? So let's kind of look at what happens if I leave it like this, right? So if I leave it like this, now you have 2 lanes of fire that castle can cover down. Versus if I flipped it the other way, where there's a big chunky blocker here and here, well, this kind of loses its value. You can't really do, you know what I mean? You can't really do anything with this because it's blocked. It's like, well, the best you can get is like maybe get an angle this way, but even then, like I'm gonna put the red door right here. So you have an angle, you might not. It just depends on like what this wall is like. So I might actually leave it like this. Yeah, if I put a red door right here, you can only cover it from here. We'll go back and organize that in a bit. I'm gonna go do this. This one. Oh no, it was the other one. Gotta replace this.
Can we get interior red doors? Seems to be a common question.
Yeah, they're hard. They're kind of hard to place because it's like red doors typically have directionality, and we want defenders to be able to go through them. We don't want to cut it off for both teams because if I put an interior red door that can only be blown up, well, the defenders like will never be able to use it. But if we design an object that isn't a main rotation but more of a shortcut, yeah, sure. Like maybe there's a level that has like a vent or something, like a little grate that you can blow up, and it's not a main rotation. But if attackers take it, like, well, now you have a shortcut. Like potentially in the future, like we've had this idea before. Assemble some bridges. I really want to get a custom double wide bridge that's like meant to be an entrance. I still think these bridges are cool as shit.
I love the bridges.
They just have that. I like the fact that 1, they're vertical, but 2, that somebody can be a bridge troll below you.
Oh yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
I love that. I love that you can just sit down here and be an asshole.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. That happened yesterday in a ranked match. I saw a player sitting under the bridge. He had a barb above him on the door, and then when they ran into the barb,
Yeah, that's the type of shit I want to see. Is defenders being clever.
Yep.
That is exactly what I want to see happening in these maps. Is just you taking advantage of the 3D terrain and what you can do. Like that's why I specifically leave these things around, because you can hide pretty well in these. because you can crouch and kind of keep your head in the water, and it's hard to see you. But of course, you can't really see over or do anything. So it's like, okay, when do I reveal myself? I tried my best to like highlight like where you can hide on the map. It's like on the map view, you can kind of see where the circle of reeds are that you're gonna be most hidden. Versus on here where it's all kind of like, where could he be? And it's like right there. All right, let's see what else we want to do. I'm sad that base didn't spawn more of its islands. I have to do a bit of cleanup. Real question is I don't know how many pillboxes I want here. I think the answer is I want 2 pillboxes because this is basically a 3rd pillbox. And it's a pretty nasty one.
Yeah.
Because you can just straight see into here, so you're gonna have to smoke that off no matter what. See, as long as you can't see like into the thing before the door opens, that's what I care about. It's like once that door goes down, like all bets are off. But if you throw a smoke like right here, like in this little divot, I'm pretty sure you'll cut off this and this. So then you only need to worry about the one I'm about to move. Here we go. So now you've got your 3 pillboxes. So if you check a smoke right here, you'll probably disable both of them and you'll be fine. I always like that moment when all the smoke grenades start getting yeeted outside the boat.
Yeah.
It's just like incoming artillery.
I love the like the I don't know if they're what they're exactly called, but the animations that happen on D-Day regardless, like the kind of the smoke shells and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that was it was Valdis. He made a whole bunch of like room specific things for that. Like we've got like the strobe lights on the top that just kind of go off as though there's bullet fire.
Yeah.
There's sometimes there's passive smoke screens in here that provide cover. There's all sorts of shit going on. We really just wanted to make this feel like you were storming the beach.
Yeah. That's that's one of my favorite things is that it's just dynamic, you know. It's different than any other thing.
It's an experience more than just a room. Like I said, I can't wait for us to bring the shopping cart back so you get the true MG42 experience of just walking up and there's a 230 round LMG just barreling down you and you're just like, oh no, please. Just gonna make a big T shape over here.
It's so cool seeing how this comes together.
Yeah, I just slammed a button a whole bunch, and it was like, all right, here you go. Missed a spot because this gun was here, but I got you.
When creating a map for this game, how do you go about avoiding errors such as doors being blocked by objects in the next room? Seems like an impossible task. Really impressive.
Aussie, our QA guy, catches a lot of it. We do have. Oh, does this guy? Oh, he's off a little. One, for shit like that, like I'm pretty trained to look for it, right? Like I've done this so long, I know to look for it. But like we do have plans for. See, even right here. Nudge him over, like two. There we go. I question if you can make this jump, Smit. I'm not sure.
No, it's way too far, I think. I've tried to make the jump from the little lip onto the like box, the elevated spot that the gun is on, but I still can't make that.
Nice. But yeah, kind of to go back to kind of that question, one of the things we're working on implementing for level gen is basically we will put like an invisible. This wouldn't be gameplay row. We put like a field around this thing, so it'd be like an invisible blocker, and if that blocker intersected with an object, so like this or this, it would just it would be like, nope, sorry, you can't be here. It would just delete it. So like you see that kind of a lot, unfortunately, right now with like posters. Because like a lot of times you'll occasionally see a poster over a window, and those can be really hard for like Ozzy or myself to catch because they're so small, and they can be like they only have one face, so they're only visible from one side, so we can miss them sometimes. But like the larger objects are just super obvious. I actually need to, yeah, see, now that I made this, I'm like, wait, I need to change something, which is like, I just like that I can easily undo all this and just be like, nah, I want it like this. There we go. I have a more interesting shape. You have like this little like like a little pillbox and a pillbox thing going on. We have this little fork.
Yeah, I like that. When can we get a button to raise the lava in pit?
Dude, I wish I
That'd
wanted
be
shit
so
like that. When I was first prototyping, I wanted a fire hall room where like the whole all of the floors were fire. It would have fire traps on them. There was a button somewhere in the level that would turn it on. So if you knew they were in there, you could run over and smack the button if you still owned that room. But it kind of turned into pit instead. I kind of like pit. I liked it better when it didn't have lava and it was spikes because the room was ultra dangerous in the dark. Because you had no like if it was pitch black in here and you didn't have a flashlight or a flare, you did not know where to go. Like, you could easily just be walking straight off a cliff to your death, and it was super dangerous. You could mess with the attackers like that. Like, if they were walking forward and aiming at you and you turned the lights off and they just kept trying to aim at you, they could just go straight off into the spikes. So yeah, just trying to figure out how I want to organize this. Pretty sure I want power to be here. Oh, specifically here.
I still walk to my death with a flashlight and lava to see where I'm going.
It used to be way more dangerous, but we toned it down. In my original white boxing, the way this room actually worked is any of these islands, kind of like this, they had little guardrails on it, but the bridges didn't. So like if you were on an island, you were fine because you wouldn't be able to just walk straight off because there were little ankle guardrails. But if you're on the bridges, it was like you were committing to walking straight off this thing. It was like, let Jesus take the wheel. Oh, come on, you bastard. Here we go. And now the check. Can I actually do this? Because I don't know. Where's the gate? Oops, I pulled the whole thing down. Where's the actual gate? There it is. Sweet. It connects. It works. Now I just need to put the button inside instead of floating over lava. So Castle will actually get the button. Put it right here.
Will we have more verticality in pit like we've seen in Toxic recently?
I don't think so. The only elevated areas are meant to be like I understand the overlap. Like Pit and Toxic are very similar. It was funny because the Toxic's current iteration is more inspired from Pit than the other way around. But yeah, I don't think you will see any more verticality. Like I have a couple ideas for things that I could add to Pit, but it's not that. It's not like raised walkways because I mean it's like well you're walking over death down here versus walking over death up here. Which one do you want? Right now it's just like I think it's better if the elevated areas are more predictable since the rest of the map is very complicated. It's like okay the elevated areas are only by the door. I actually think I'm gonna do this. Yeah.
I do wish that the island still had ankle guards or ankle railings. Just because I've fallen in so many times.
Yeah. Let me zip.
What motivated deciding on this particular tile set instead of a more serious one?
I mean, all of our other tile sets were serious, and we wanted something a little more lighthearted. Like, we also wanted an opportunity to explore more extreme spaces, right? Like, the dome background scene already existed, but that used to be the background scene for Kill House. So, like, we were like, Kill House doesn't really feel right here. Like, if we're gonna have this big, like, Bloodsport show, we want there to be more shit going on. Like, something bigger and grander.
Well, and like you've said already, under the game show guys, like you're able to
We can explore anything.
more.
We literally stuck D-Day in a tile set, come on.
This map feels like an episode of Wipeout or something similar.
Right?
That's what I think of too. Pretty soon there'll be like spinning logs you have to jump on.
Dude, some of the original stuff that I wanted was stuff like that. Like one of the ideas that I had for a room was like I wanted this to be more like a game show than like an actual game show. So one of the ideas that I had was there's like cover in the room, you know, it's just like big cubes. And there were multiple targets in the room, so there could be like a target like over here, and over here, right? And if you shot all of the targets, all of the cover would sink into the floor. And now there's no cover, or the color would be cover coded, so there'd be red targets and blue targets. So if you shot all the red targets, the red cover would go straight down into the floor, and now like whoever's behind the blue cover has the advantage, you know, and vice versa. That was one of the ideas that I had, but we never got around to testing it. Like that, like we really want to like ultra game showify this. Okay, cool. I think Pit's okay now. I just wanted something a little more visually interesting than just looking at the lava. Like with Pit, one of the things I need to do is make it so there's more like decoration spawning.
Oh yeah, true.
Because right now it's just the cover and the pathways, but we need more like interesting things to look at while you're in here to make the room feel more alive. Is the truck already spawned? No, it's not. You need to run the post room. And then the lights. But yeah, the lighting pass actually spawns like chains between all the lights to make the room look super cool. Let me run that and I'll show you what I mean.
Swinging battle axes in castle. Oh,
Right?
man.
That'd be fun. Like I really wanted there to be a lot of traps. I wanted this to be like the game show, like you hit the button and like the big saw blades come up from the floor and just fuck a dude up, but
The swinging
didn't have
log
the
that has
technical time.
spikes on it that you can drop.
Yep. But yeah, see, like the level gen will actually spawn the light pieces and then connect them with chains. And it'll do the same thing in Pit. It'll have like the vines.
It's so cool.
Yeah, to make the uh-oh. I see you. Kind of make the area feel more alive. Here we go. I just like all the sound that got added to this place last minute.
Yeah.
I like just like all the ambience is really awesome. Adam did such an awesome job to it. I love it. Gotta add those little rat spots.
Yes.
There you go. Have your rat spot right in the middle. That way you can just chill like right here and wait for him, and then just pop out and murder him. This is what I mean by shit being too complicated. Like, if you look at the amount of cover that spawned, it's just like grass, 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 grass. Gotta tone that shit down. Where did bombs spawn? Oh, he's back here. Congratulations, you're getting promoted. Meow. Come over here. Yeah, see, same height. Like I just drug him from here to here, and they're both at the same height. I'm gonna do one thing. Go move this boy over here. Gonna move Zach's picture. Very important.
Very true.
There we go. It's like Cyber Napoleon.
Making maps, do you just freestyle it until it feels right or done?
Pretty much. Like the level generator gives me the basic shape of the map. Like I'll never like move rooms around or shit because it takes way too much effort, and that's what the level generator is supposed to do. But yeah, for the most part, like I'll just nudge cover around until I like it or it feels okay. Like I've been doing this for a really long time, so it was like what year 3, year 4 doing this, so. I like the idea that you could potentially like wall charge from here directly into one of these stalls and just kill anybody inside.
All the trenches.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Fuck that. We'll just... If you can somehow get up here as an attacker and get into here and wall charge that, God bless.
They deserve the round at that point.
There we go. Oh no. My little corner pieces. I don't know why these little corner pieces aren't attaching. It's very unfortunate. This is what I mean by like little bits of decoration. Like, I wish Pit had more things like this, because these things are just here to add like flavor and visual interest beyond just being straight walls. If you can get up here and wall charge and through there, like, God bless. I mean, there's no point to, because you can just go through this door on the other side. But if you like Hercules jump off this thing and plant and blow up, like, God bless.
Congrats,
Godspeed.
Congrats, you skipped one door.
Yep. I always try to enable that kind of silly stuff though, because I don't know what people want to do.
Right.
So it's like if I leave the door open, you might see it someday. So it's cool if I leave it. I also like that one time I put one of these cannons backwards and somebody called me out on it. Where I had the cannon like this, and they were like, "Why isn't it facing the beach? It doesn't make any sense. It's the other way." I like this cannon though. Zach did a really awesome job with it. Okay, castle's done. Pit's done. Beach is done. Okay, all we gotta do is jungle, the hardest part. Oh yeah, what are we gonna name the map? We have Dusk Tide or Tide Dusk. Neither are particularly good. We'll let chat decide. Can you queue up the chat?
What was the two options? Dusk Tide or
Dusk
Tide Dusk?
Tide or Tide Dusk are the two.
What do you guys think, chat? I know we don't have polls enabled because we're not affiliate, but Dusk Tide, Tide Dusk, Dusk Tide, Dusk Tide. Looks like Dusk Tide.
All right.
Is the winner. Somebody
Go
said
for it.
somebody said Tide Hunter. Redacted.
wish.
Where'd you get Hunter at, man?
I don't even know if Hunter is in the pool. I should add it.
Tide Pods.
Tide Pod, yes, Operation Tide Pods. Oh no.
Oh no. Still alright. Crazy that was a trend. It was something, that's for sure.
Tide Pods.
It was something. This is the thing too, chat. For those of you guys that were asking about like the 100% rand like generated stuff, is the computer is not going to do this amount of detail that Axsom's doing. You know, looking at the rocks and the grass and really just like putting that extra step in to make it feel better and play
It's
better.
not going to be able to do this. There's no way. Because like, yeah, it was feeling a little bit too busy over here with this like little L piece that it had going on, and I'm trying to figure out if I want to like pull it out or push it in. Which computer's not going to be able to do. Apparently neither am I, so it's all just impossible.
I like that though. I like when there's more cover there because obviously if you look at this map just in this base stage as it is now, like D-Day seems like the power position, you know, you get direct line of sight on the bomb, stuff like that. So adding more cover for defenders to be able to defend it is always a good thing. But not make it look like it's busy, you know.
Like I said earlier, it's all about making the map understandable and not feel overwhelming.
Right. Here's a good question for you. Why do you use the replace tool to place objects instead of just drag and dropping the props on the map?
They go outside the hierarchy. So, and this is our hierarchy over here. If I drag something outside the hierarchy, and if I need to move the level, like I did, yeah, we have our little friendly prop still sitting here. So if I use the replace tool, it guarantees that it's inside the hierarchy. So when it comes time to move the whole level, everything just moves. Seems kind of convoluted, but I mean, that's the reason. Helps with organization.
April 1st should have a map pool for casuals just 100% randomly generated. No touch-ups.
Yeah, so I don't actually know if that's like technically possible. We'd have to like build a whole system to do that because we'd have to like go back to baking the level generator back into the game itself, which we don't do right now. That's like a huge technical ask, so I doubt it'll happen. Unfortunately. There we go. Jungle is like significantly reduced now. You've got like 2 trees, a log with some grass, and I'm like pretty sure that's gonna be it. I just don't know where to put. Actually, we'll put it over here. I just don't know where to put the. Yeah. I like this. Hang on. Let's do a check. Let's see how cheeky we can make this breaky. Come here. Let's put a dummy in the scene. All right. Put this guy. Here's our guy. He's defusing. Oh no. Let's get our. Because we all know what gun Smit will use to cover this. There you go.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Let's go into. You can barely see his head right there if he's crouching. Like you can see that little sliver of blue, so you'd be able to tell where he is. But yeah, if he's crouching. But yeah, I want you to be able to cover bomb from castle. So you have to figure out how to deal with this sight line. I might actually just remove this so it's possible. Because if we bring our dummies back, I bring my game mode in here. So we know there's a guy here. It's this dude. So if I remove this, yeah, you can totally see him now. So it's a question of like, do I want this or not? Maybe we can let chat decide. Would you keep this grass here, or would you expose?
What do you guys?
Would you expose him? I'll do whatever.
What do you guys think, chat? Keep the grass or get rid of it? Make the grass lower. Keep grass for blind shots.
Yeah, grass needs to be. It has to be consistent. So I either get rid of it. I'm not going to change the height. So either I get rid of it or I keep it.
Maybe move the grass closer towards the sniper.
I mean, you already have grass right here. There's already grass. I want to keep it. I want to keep this piece of like corner cover right here.
Get rid of grass.
Otherwise, it's like this, and it ends up feeling too busy because you like immediately exit the log. And
Battery low.
I could though, but. The question is, how visible should this dude be? Because like, yeah, I could pull it all the way back to here, right? But I mean, at that point, it's doing the same thing as this piece over here. So why would I have this?
You have to give him a second. My headset was dying and it said battery low. Now that's all they're typing.
F.
And then it says charging battery now.
Charging battery now.
It went from talking about should we get rid of the grass or keep it to battery low in chat. Tell me more about that battery, girl. Alright, get rid of it or keep it, guys. What do you guys think?
Battery low. Apparently you need to get rid of that battery.
Yeah. Personally fine, keep it. I think what you have right now looks really good.
Yeah, I just want you to be able to see the diffuser. So maybe this is good. Nice to be able to see him.
Yeah, because you can still see his head.
I mean, well, more importantly, you can see kind of his back and his shoulders. That's
Yeah.
the important part. Because like if it's just his head, it's easy to lose it. In the scope, you might be able to see it, but I want you to be able to use like an Ingmar and other weapons. Any long range weapon should be able to kill that dude with proper aim.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
So
what you just
perhaps,
did is good.
yeah, I think this ultimate solution is in order to make this feel less busy, we just move the log back. There we go. So you can see the dude now. It's a little more obvious. There you go. So you have like a little 2x3 cube you can run around in. And before it was like this little like 1 by whatever. I just wanted to make it feel a little more open.
So do you have the red doors in place already on this one?
I have one. I need to figure out where I want to put the other. It's either going to be, I think it has to be right here. Is the like I don't know where else to put it. I think I have to put it here, and then you're just forced through this choke point. Like it's really fucking tight to go through here, and you have to. It's like if you go this way, you still have to deal with this fucking sniper, which is
Yeah.
why I made it. I wanted this to be somewhat visible, either by just barely, or you can see his shoulders, which is why I asked the question as to what people would do. Because ultimately, I need to put a third red door here, and it's either going to be here or here. Here feels too close to bomb, but here feels better, but still not ideal.
So would you ever put one in castle and give jungle to the
Uh,
defenders altogether and let the castle?
A castle's supposed to like idea of castles. You have to go this way
Yeah.
if you want to take it. I could put one in castle and then put one in. Like I could put one here and here, but then it's just like, why would you ever take this one? Just take castle because it's
Yeah.
castle,
True.
right? So it's like I need to make you. You need to be able to make a choice.
True. True.
And it's like this is the obvious problem right here: is that castle can see bomb. What do I do? It's like, do I push? Do I push up through here and try to make my way in? Do I, you know? Actually, let's enable. Now that I'm thinking about it. Enable. So do I double charge in, go the back route, and clean this place out? What do I do?
So I've seen some feedback of like wanting like a double button for the castle gate, one inside, one outside. What are your thoughts on something like that?
It would like I actually don't like that. I want there to be one. Like there's already enough going on the dome that you don't need more than one thing happening at a time. Like the control of the button is important. What I really want to do is have the button always be outside castle, but you're able to kick the castle door down from the inside.
Okay. True.
So
True.
you have to defend the button, right? But it's like if you're inside and you need to leave, you can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have to, if you're outside trying to go in, you have to get the button to open the gate to get inside. But if you're inside and it's like, oh shit, they're on bomb, but I don't have the angle, you can just kick the door down and get out. Like that's kind of my thoughts on it. I still want one button, but I want you to be able to kick that door down so it won't matter where I press the button because you can always leave. Because that's the hard part right
Well,
now. Is if I don't want to trap defenders in there.
Well, that and if they get powered as well, you're able
Yeah,
to kick
you
it
should
down.
just be able. Exactly, you should be able to kick it. Like you should be able to leave through that point, regardless of whether or not you own the button or if power's on or off. I think you should be able to kick it down. I gotta remove that dummy, or else he'd make it into the final level.
It'd be so funny though.
I've done it before. Not anytime recently. That was like alpha days where I accidentally left the dummy in on the like original implementation of Old Courtyard back when he was a fat boy. Okay, you can't see truck. That's all I care about. Here we go. I think this is okay. Like, this is a really hard fucking choke to go through, my guy.
Yeah, that's a double barb molly.
It's like, yeah, you put a barb here and a barb here, and you've got to worry about angles from here and here. And people in here. Like, this is like, sure, it's close to bomb, but goddamn, that's super painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I regret in one of the other maps that I made. Like, again, this is the question on touch-ups. The map in question is like, it's like jungle's kind of like this shape. Ruins is kind of like this, the staircase. There's a bridge, an island, a bridge, and then the other half of ruins. And then bomb is right here. And then there's a red door right here. So what I should have done is I should have put a red door under the bridge. So yeah, it gets you access or easy access to the level, but you have to go to one of the staircases, which is like, like this, instead of just running straight. This would have been better. This door would have been better if the shopping cart existed, because you could just stick the shopping cart right here and be like, LOL, no.
Right.
But yeah, I should have put that red door elsewhere. I should have thought a little bit harder about it. I thought it was fine because it's like, yeah, you'll just stick a mop at the end of the hall and you've got hard ass cover and you'll just obliterate people, but cover was not hard enough. All right. Say appropriately simplified level.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I mean, you had, like you said, you have the choke points, you have the castle for your power position, as well as like if you hold pit, you could pop out a jungle and shoot. It's a good little map. Discussing post-game emotes in Discord too much for the game's aesthetic. You talking like default dances? Flossing is required.
Oh no, please. I already said no to that. Stop. It can only take so much. I'm waiting to see if people will like blow pit to get power, right? And then like a dude out here pops out and just sideswipes.
Never forget the Orange Justice. Exactly. Never forget Orange Justice.
I forgot Orange Justice.
Post game emotes, they go in the verse screen. I just want sprays.
Yeah, hopefully this map is okay, because yeah, you still have to deal with castle in some way, shape, form, because it can cover bomb. So you either smoke it.
Castle and beach, honestly, or base.
Yep, both of them. Well, from base, like it's a little harder because you can't see because you're at this level. Like if I brought my dummy back in, he wouldn't be able to see. I think my horizon is crooked.
It is.
Yeah, but yeah, we're better now. If I bring my handy dummy back in, that glows like the sun in game view.
The mop character just looks so funny.
I know. So like, yeah, if you're trying to cover from there, you're not gonna be able to see him. You'd have to blind fire. Like you'd have to go, like even if you're.
It kind of works both ways though too. Like they can't see you either.
Yeah. It's like if you're right here, you still can't really. I think it'll be like that. even if you're in the log, like it's hard to see him. You need to be like most of the way. Now you can start. Like back here, you're kind of getting a little of it, but I think that's too small to really tell. But once you get like two or three more steps in, then it's like, there he is, and you can start spraying. But
Right.
you have to be in the log. Versus if you're like right here, like depending on where you're standing, you might see him. But I don't think you can cover it from base. You definitely need to be like either in the log or in. Actually, yeah. Can you see him back here? No, you can't.
I don't even think you can
definitely
get up
not
there,
back
can you? Can you get up there?
Yeah, I might be able to make this jump. Unsure. That's a big if you can get up there though.
Be the log. Yes, you have to be the log.
Is this due process prop hunt? We prop hunt now?
I still think
God.
that'd be so fun. Especially on Dome.
Yeah, especially in Dome, yeah. I think we need... I don't think this needs to be here. I think we need the other piece. I think we need the corner piece, yeah. See that corner piece. There we go.
Here comes the bush Wookiees.
Yeah. Like I said, I want this to be a really punishing route because it has such easy access to bomb. I'm questioning if I want to put away like a staircase right here to get you into ruins or not. Because like the only way up here is if you spawn in pit and go backwards. You know what I mean? Like you have to go this way. There's no like staircase up. I think I need to put a staircase here so you can be in multiple places.
It's going to be a quick flash and you're up there. That's the only thing about it.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm just like, yeah, I just don't know what I need to do. I might put a staircase here so you can, if you're at bomb and you get up. It just feels a little clunky because it's right near bomb, but I don't think I care.
Kyle, I think the highest rank in game right now is an R31. I think it's infinite amounts though at the current time. The lowest would be like R1, I believe. I don't even know if there is any of those in the game though. Will other maps get an atmospheric overhaul because Killdome USA is so flashy in comparison?
I wish, dude. Well, like we'll see when we get there. Like we got to get done with like you can kind of see that with Pipeworks, like the upgrade to shelving that's coming. Like we're upgrading the factory Pipeworks to make a factory feel more like a factory. But I know you're really talking about like the audio and the effects and shit.
And the intros, so, I think that was
yeah.
That was a question that got asked earlier this week. I was asked to be on that C-Store podcast, and they asked if other maps would be like that, and I was like, I have no idea. I said I would assume they'd want to do something like that, but I have no idea.
Me either.
In fact, you get a really boring OSHA lecture happening over the intercom the whole round.
Dude, I always joked when we were initially like doing factory stuff that if the factory I'm making doesn't have at least one OSHA violation, why am I making it?
Yeah.
I used to work at UPS, so I know all about it.
You just have an OSHA lecture going on in the background.
Yeah. Interesting because like if you take this angle and there's a dude hiding here, you know, if he was trying to cover the bomb like this, you kind of come out. Like if he's standing here, he's like pretty screwed.
Yeah. Come with me and you'll be in a world of OSHA violations.
Yeah, come with me and you'll be in a world of OSHA violations.
There's an upcoming factory map that didn't make it into this last week's rotation that was part of our make a map program with our partners. The Due Process League did it, and you'll see a lot of factories on that map. or not a lot of factories, a lot of forklifts.
Yeah, there's a lot. Although, to be fair, they're kind of outside the map, but have you
Yeah.
seen their map? Did they show
Yeah.
you pictures?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There are a lot of them, though.
Yeah. When they showed it to me, I said, "That's a nice touch."
Yeah, that was a end of the thing request, is we wanted to have a thing that said it. So I was just like, all right, I'll just put it down in the lower left like it's an artistic signature.
Right.
All right. I think this guy's feeling better now. Now you've got an alternate way up into ruins. It's not easily accessible to here. This is still a really hard push.
Speaking of
You got to go through
madness-
this. You got to go through this thin thing too.
Yeah. Speaking of atmosphere, would we ever get announcers that are team specific? Example, Argus
know.
leader in the van updating you on kills.
I don't know. Good question. I don't know. Okay. I just need to add a little something in here so it's not just so bland and empty. Set this dude. Our little sacrificial pit. Or sacrificial table.
I've never
There you go,
even
show me.
noticed that. Is that
Yeah,
on
he's
any
like a little
maps?
Yeah, he's on several. He's just like a little sacrifice table. I have an altar with that on it. It like spawns over here on the side, and it's got like a little table and a tiki head above it, and it's got a knife and a thing of water on the table.
I've never noticed that.
Little atmospheric thing. It's just like a speaker above it and everything. All right, cool. I think we're done.
See, that's the cool thing about Dome is it's so new that everything is. There's a lot of stuff that people haven't looked at or looked into much.
Yeah. I'm trying to be really cognizant though, like the feedback and how, because right now I'm noticing that there's not a lot of planning going on, but I don't know if that's just because the tile set is so new that people haven't developed like, oh, here's how I play this room, here's how I play this room. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm still kind of waiting a little to see like what happens, how that shakes out
Yeah.
before I start making like really insane decisions. But yeah, it's like right now, like we boiled ruins and jungle down to like what 3, 4 pieces of cover right here. I actually
Yeah.
question if this tree even needs to be here because this kind of accomplishes the same thing. I might just make it a small tree just for decoration. Make it this boy. So he's not really covered and he's just there for like decoration.
To be fair, I've used those as cover. It's very tough, but it's doable.
Yeah. Oh, it's totally doable, but it's not meant as cover. It's just there to be like, welcome to the jungle, baby. Yeah, he's just here for his decoration. It's the thick boys that are meant to be cover. Very cool. I think that's better. Yeah, because this dude is already, this little corner pillar is already cover versus this direction. So if there was a guy sitting here, like, if he can't see you through this thing, he's definitely not gonna be able to see you through that thing. So I'll just get rid of it.
Right. One of the Kill Dome maps in Eternity, I thought I was stuck in the water, but I had to go under the drawbridge to find the ramp. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that was one of Sando's maps. You have to like go all the way around to get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to figure out a way, or ask UI if they can think of a way to make the exits to the river more obvious. It's like it's not like super clear right here, even though it should be.
Well,
I
you
also need to
can't
clean
Go
also
ahead.
need to clean these up. Not to detract from that statement, but like, yeah, from the map screen. From the map screen, you're supposed to be able to see that you can go into these things. Versus before, it had that little blocker on the top, so it's like, can I go in here?
Yeah.
When you get rid of them, it's like, nah, you can definitely see there's no wall there.
Well, I feel like with the
Shoot.
water, the biggest thing is if you just had ramps everywhere, right? So you could run out anywhere versus you have to run out a certain area, but then obviously it's hard. It's
harder for map design
Yeah.
at that point. It's like, it's cooler if I can control it, but at the end of the day, maybe doing that solution is the right solution, is to just let people out wherever. Because that would be consistent. You wouldn't have to worry about it, but it would be more annoying. But we'll see.
Can we give it a reverse D-Day where attackers can snowboard in?
just start at the top of the map and you snowboard down the mountain like it's fucking Snowboard Kids. All right, I think that's all we really have time for. We're gathering in the other room, so.
All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this week's map making episode. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Look for these guys in these maps in this week's rotation on Friday. Axsom, do you have anything else you want to say?
Nope. I will probably end up streaming a little more tonight. So if you're a Boosty Boy and want to see more maps and kind of bullshit with me later on at night, I do streams in the Discord with anybody who's Nitro boosted our server.
Sounds good. All right, guys, take care.
Later, everybody.
A vote for Futureman is a vote for the future. Argus stock up 5 points in the wake of recent crime.
The bullets are real. The danger is real. The excitement is real. Coming to you live from Governor's Island, Argus presents the deadliest game show ever aired. Euro USA. Watch as 5 low-down punks and 5 Argus enforcers go head-to-head in the ultimate combat challenge, D-Day. Storm the beaches for a dangerous frontal assault. Jungle. Hide among the leaves and employ guerrilla warfare. Castle. A powerful defensive fortress. Observation. Survey the area and keep an eye on the competition. Hint. Where one wrong step can mean the difference between shortcut and cut short. Who will survive inside Kildare, USA?